All sorts of wars that are being fought in the world are being voraciously guarded and sustained because of one simple thing, that is the currency. Now, the very purpose of printing money is actually forfeited by the fact that it does not entail the inherent value that could be accumulated within the norms or the institution of the printing authority. All sorts of promises that are made on the currency note are like valid in the computational sense just because the printer assumes that the money would encounter transactions that could siphon value to the currency. Now, how could the value be decided in a brain simulated world? I am strictly talking in the sense that we are living in an AI environment or machine learning environment where the weights of zeros and ones are artificial. On the other side, where you could think of a natural world, these numbers are pre-decided and they do not form the cognizance of the mankind, and these numbers are God numbers. So when these numbers itself are vague and rudimentary, so to imagine a situation where value could be correctly decided is very fictitious and vague proposition. Now, as I claim, and it truly happens to be, that mankind is living a brain simulation, so practically the brain simulated mind beings can be considered as dead. So what becomes rare is the ability to emote. Now, could this form the basis of value addition to the currency? Yes. And exactly, yes. And this is being done. What becomes rare becomes valuable. What happens to be in ample amount or of infinite availability cannot be taken as being valuable. So the very facets and nuances of the emotions are being quantified and measured in order to ascertain value to a particular transaction. So, in such a sense, the entire scenario of money harnessing value out of artificial emotions is thought of as the function of the money machine. So my prime concern and proposition is if these values, these emotions or quantified emotions or calibrated emotions turn out to be as haphazard, as chaos itself, which can be termed as non-measurable or non-controllable. So in such a scenario, how can we transact in terms of variability? The transaction must be on value added thing and not on the basis of need or necessity aspect of the transaction. Now this makes the entire concept of money machine going flawed. So my prime intrigue happens to be that could we reach a point where entire money machine could collapse? If yes, then when or how? Could computer learn that despite living a pricing pandemic situation, the money machine should not run on variable commodities based on needs or necessities such as quantified or calibrated emotions? Because the polarity or the measure of a particular emotion varies from subject to subject, or it varies from the individualistic defined definition of a person. So this renders the value added emotion currency as bizarre, since it happens to be variable. So when you actually solve for a variable in a system of simultaneous equations, you must ensure that x happens to be x throughout the process of solving the system of equations, that the variability of the symbol itself should not change with the passage of time or space. But this is happening where we see a transition from x going to y or z. So this makes the entire computation as mathematically invalid or vague. So if computer could learn this and stop actually accruing value to the particular transaction where some sort of currency is involved, if computer could learn this, then I promise nothing less than a utopian proposition of existence of transhumans, if not exactly humans.